We've got some more clips of Trump to look at, this time in Wisconsin, spreading even more falsehoods and making for more hilarious clips as his mental decline is front and center and in full force. So I've lined these up, and as always, we'll knock them out one by one.
Global warming wasn't working because the planet's actually gotten a little bit cooler recently, but climate change covers everything. It can rain, it can be dry, it can be hot, it can be cold. Climate change, everything is. Look, and I believe I really am an environmentalist. I've gotten environmental awards, but I want clean, beautiful air and clean, beautiful water.
Love how it's pretty clear he's been told to backtrack from calling it a hoax because it's against all science and most of America believes in climate change. So he's trying to change how he delivers this message. And also, global temperatures have never stopped rising. They're still rising now. Global warming is a part of climate change. They're not two separate things. It's always been that way. It's just that there's different threat levels or different concerns at different times. Sometimes the biggest concern is rising sea levels. Sometimes it's carbon emissions. Others is global warming, but again, it all falls under climate change. So what he's saying here is completely false, and I'm sure that he wants clean air and clean water. That's why he rolled back environmental protections and weakened environmental agencies when he was president. You know, he was trying to reverse psychology the environment into being clean, of course.
Can you imagine that your child leaves for school and comes home and their gender has been changed? I don't want to get into the details, but it's not even believable.
Yeah, this is just straight up a lie. But you know what could actually happen to your children thanks to Republican and Trump policies? Your child could go to school and come home in a casket. And then Trump will just tell you to get over it and refuse to legislate guns because they prefer guns to children. Super pro-life of them, by the way. But that is what could actually happen when your child goes to school. They don't get genital surgeries until they're an adult. So this is a lie on its face. But also, schools don't intervene or administer any kind of gender-affirming care. There's not a school in the nation that's doing that. It has to be a doctor. This would likely be puberty blockers, and it would only happen after weeks of therapy, a diagnosis, and a doctor's prescription with both the parents and the child's consent. So this is, again, just him fear-mongering about a minority group, bringing unwarranted attacks and hate onto them, something that Trump loves to do, sparking hate crimes for minority groups.
From Iran, but also, do you believe that you should have been tougher on Iran after they had launched ballistic missiles in 2020 on U.S. forces in Iraq, leaving more than 100 U.S. soldiers injured?
So, first of all, injured. What does injured mean? Injured means you mean because they had a headache, because the bombs never hit the fort.
This is just horrendous. I mean, he's downplaying the severity of troops that he got killed and injured, going against the advice of his foreign policy advisors. 3 soldiers died in those attacks, and more than 100 were critically injured with serious head trauma or brain injuries. Dozens couldn't even return to service, but to him, it's just headaches. Why are we pretending that he's still the candidate who values troops? Well, I mean, obviously nobody with sense does, the cult does, but I mean, those of us with sense know he mocked John McCain and called him a loser for being a prisoner of war on live TV, called veterans and cemeteries suckers and losers, and disparages them in any way he can, like saying that the Congressional Medal of Honor is better than the one that is awarded to troops because, you know, all of them are shot up and injured by the time they get that. And it's like, only MAGA at this point can carry water for Trump and pretend that he somehow still respects our troops because they don't have any dignity or self-respect for themselves or the things they're saying.
Your campaign sued to throw out the absentee ballots cast by voters in those 2 counties. What is your message to someone watching in Dane and Milwaukee County who feels they did nothing wrong in 2020? They might support you, but you tried to throw their vote out 4 years ago.
I think they generally agreed with me. My voters generally agreed with me.
Yeah, okay, right. Again, he enlisted fake electors in 7 states to subvert the votes of the people in those states. Doesn't deny any of it, just says he needs immunity. And now, oh, wow, you know, they agreed with me. I'm sure people in our democracy were fine with having their voice in our democratic system thrown out for Trump to remain in favor or in power as an authoritarian dictator. This is Putin-esque. This is what happens in Russia, and I can't believe that people are still seriously considering voting for someone who not only had a poor economic record, not only fumbled a pandemic, not only failed us abroad, but couldn't pass his own campaign goals, so he essentially just lied about them and then went on to try and steal and thwart our democracy. People are so brainwashed by him simply because he allowed them to openly express their bigotry, which is why it's the utmost important of the utmost importance that we vote this out of our political sphere come November.